What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel. So today I figured I'd take this opportunity to clean up my my trusty old keyboard here. This is a Rosewill RGB80. As the name implies, this is an RGB keyboard. It is mechanical, it uses Kale Brown switches. Not a terrible keyboard, and it's still doing the job that I need it to do, but because it gets so dusty here, I need to give this keyboard a serious cleaning. But I figured, since I'm going to be taking all of the keycaps off of it anyway, why don't I try and breathe some life into this keyboard? Because the problem I've been having lately with it is it's been causing me a lot of fatigue, especially on along these knuckles right here, because travel is so far on these particular switches, and I'm the kind of typist where I not only have to periodically look at the keyboard, but I tend to bottom out most of my strokes. And the bottoming out with this keyboard feels really bad on a long enough timeline, so I figured I'd give these a go. These are some O-rings from WASDkeyboards.com, and I'll go ahead and link them in the video's description. But these are basically switch dampening O-rings that are designed to do two things. One, reduce the sound output of bottoming out your key switches when you're using your keyboard, and two, it also dampens it so that it's a softer bottoming out experience. Alright, so I'm not going to bore you guys by making you watch me do this with every single key on this keyboard, but basically the directions are able to fit just on the tiny ass label for these O-rings. So I'm just going to walk you through real quick one of these. Now you will need some kind of keycap removal tool, likely this came with your keyboard. If not, WASD Keyboards actually has a really nice keycap pulling tool for like $6. Again, that will be linked in the video's description. Basically, all you do though is you take your keycap puller, push it down over the keycap that you want to pull up, there you go, you have the switch revealed. Then you take your Cherry MX stem compatible cap, put the O-ring over the stem, like so, and then you pop the cap back onto the switch. That's literally all there is to this. So, as it turns out, thank the Lord I decided to clean this keyboard. But I got it all cleaned up and looking pretty-ish again, and I got the O-rings installed. Again, the process is really straightforward, but it can be a little time consuming if you're going to install O-rings on all of the keys on your keyboard, so just try and time installing them for when you would be cleaning the keyboard anyway. Now, as far as the technical stuff with this O-ring is concerned, if you ever buy these and you go to measure them for yourself, you're going to find that they're actually roughly 1 millimeter thick, but they only reduce travel by about 0.4 millimeters. And part of that has to do with the O-ring expanding when you put it on the keycap, as well as the compression force from when the key bottoms out. So it's not going to actually reduce your travel by a full millimeter, contrary to what you might measure. Also, make sure if you buy these, you bear in mind your specific keyboard switch's actuation distance and the total travel distance on it, because depending on the O-rings that you're wanting to install, that could make for some undesirable results with your keyboard. Now, as far as what they did for the way this keyboard sounds, I'm going to show two sound tests here, one from the Manic Misses and one from myself. The reason I had her do some typing tests here is because I wanted you to hear what the keyboard sounds like when a proper typist is using it, someone that doesn't necessarily bottom out the keys with every single keystroke. It also acts as another reference point against the way I type, which admittedly is a little bit on the ham-fisted side because I don't necessarily stick to home row. Anyway, here's that sound test. The keyboard sounds a hell of a lot more muffled than it used to when I bottom out the switches. It's really nice, especially in my case, because the Mrs. Desk is located just off camera over there. So she definitely appreciates that now she doesn't have to listen to 2 keyboards at the same time. Honestly, I'm kind of thankful for it as well, because honestly, I really can't stand loud peripherals, I can't stand loud case fans, I can't stand loud graphics cards. So it's really nice to just have the sound profile in here just a little bit lower than it used to be. Now the rest of this video I had a problem with because inherently everything else I have to say is sort of anecdotal. There's no way for me to really properly show you measurements for anything outside of the fact that there is a noticeable change in key switch travel when you have these O-rings installed. It's kind of like a car guy switching over the suspension on his vehicle, specifically shocks and struts. They're used to that car driving and handling a specific way. So now that you have the new hardware installed, you kind of have to get used to what the vehicle does again, or in this case, what the keyboard does. And that's kind of what I've been going through. I can say that for right now, as far as my actual typing is concerned, my speed and accuracy has decreased a little bit. A lot of it has to do with me getting used to the shorter travel of these switches while still having the same keycap height, but also dealing with the damping as I bottom out the keys, because it makes the switch feel more vague, so I'm sort of having to retrain myself to not want to bottom out every time I hit a key. However, when I do bottom out, I will say it is definitely noticeably more comfortable, and I don't experience anywhere near as much finger fatigue during any sort of extended typing session. Now, as far as gaming is concerned, that really wasn't that didn't have any sort of like lean-in period for me. Like, I basically hopped right onto Doom and it felt amazing. I hopped onto ESO and it felt great. Having that shorter travel distance means that I'm recognizing sooner, apart from the tactile bump, when I've fully depressed the key. So all of my actions are happening faster, I'm responding more effectively. In short, for me, it's kind of leveled up my gaming experience, which is awesome. But that's also sort of where I'm left with the conclusion here, because again, all of this is sort of purely anecdotal stuff. And really, if you've never tried these before, like I hadn't up until this point, you don't really actually know what to expect going into that kind of purchase. I mean, I haven't even tried the 0.2mm travel reduction O-rings to see what kind of difference those make versus these ones. But sound off in the comments down below. Would you guys like to see me get a second set of the smaller travel O-rings so that I can start using those when I do things like keyboard reviews? Because if I'm being perfectly honest, if this is something you want to take the plunge on, and I will have links, by the way, in the video description to all the products that were discussed in this video. But again, if you wanted to take that plunge on it, it's not really an expensive plunge to take, and it is a relatively easy and straightforward way to add that little bit of extra personalization to a device that otherwise is pretty standard outside of like sort of niche gamery features nowadays. But anyway, toss a like on the video if you liked what you saw, get subscribed for more content coming at you sooner rather than later. Also, give me a follow on social media. I'm really active on Twitter and Instagram. I'm at the Manic Geek. And as always, I'll catch you guys next time. So take it easy.